vehicles not found? Why was the warehousing not dealt with?
Exactly. So because when I went to the province in February to say, it's either you use the existing company without prejudice, we agree with Treasury to say, because we are running out of time, we have to use what is there whilst they're investigating. And that was in February when I gave the instructions. From there, almost every second week, I had to follow up what is happening to the administrator. And it was only, I think, around before Easter's that I got a sense that, yes, the company has been nullified. Yes, orders are being procured directly with the publishers. Yes, and I mean, that kind of work, Vuyo, is a kind of work which you need almost 6 months lead time to be able to do. So to restart the whole process, in 2 months, there was just too little time to do it. It's a process that even now we have started for next year. It's not a process that you do within a week or so.
So, but now that you have an emergency situation, it's February, it's March, all of this process is not happening. What were the emergency steps that were undertaken by the department to ensure that the kids have got books? Because now we're sitting in a situation where halfway through the year, kids don't have books in Limpopo.
I'm saying by the time we found books, by the time we nullified the companies in March, I gave the administrator to say, by the time the first term ends, which is Easter's, when schools reopen second term, please make sure that the books are there. And I mean, as I say, short of really myself signing contracts with service providers, because he had to sign the service providers, or he had to sign the service providers. Short of doing that myself, I mean, there was very little that I could do as a minister or we could do nationally, because we had, as I say, the education contract could only be nullified around March, and to reorder, it means we had to go through the whole process, which takes 6 months to redevelop the order. We had to go through government processes, because you can't just call anybody walk in the cities to say give us warehousing.
But you have an emergency, Minister.
No, but even if in emergency, you have to follow rules.
Yeah.
I just can't go and grab somebody in the streets.
Yeah.
I have to advertise, even if it's a shorter period. I have to screen. All those consume time.
Yeah. So the situation now is that all of these processes have been
completed. And fortunately for us, because even now, without UTI, I don't think as a department would have been able to make a commitment to say, finally now, we think by next week. It only appeared last week when we were unable to meet the 15th deadline, that even the capacity of the new service provider, the capacity of what had been put in place was not there.
Yeah.
UTI had to come to our rescue, because fortunately they have, I mean, they are doing most of our contracts. They are the ones who are delivering workbooks, so they have our school addresses. They have almost systems in place to be able to cope with our requirements. So you did all
of the things you're talking about. You advertised, they were screened, all of those elements have now been done.
Those were done before even this current crisis came in.
Yeah, but now as the situation stands, when will the kids get the books?
We have assured them that by this week, Wednesday, they should be able to get books.
Yeah. The administrator, what has happened to the administrator? Is he still in office? Is he not in office?
No, we agreed with him amicably that we have to part ways, because besides all these other problems, I think we had also other difficulties working. So we agreed with him amicably that to say that he has to leave the province and part ways, and had a settlement with him.
By when? When should he have left office? Is he still in office?
No, he's not in office. We have a new administrator in Limpopo. We're paying him off until the end of June, and that's why technically he's still employed by the department, but he's no longer with us.
Yeah. Just in terms of where things are, there's been assertions of a relationship with Edu Solutions. Is that correct?
I've just said it now, I mean, on the radio.
Yeah.
I can assure you, when I became the MEC for education in Gauteng, I found Edu Solution already having a contract with the province.
Right.
When I went to Limpopo in December to intervene, I found Edu Solution already having a contract with Limpopo.
Yes.
So I don't know where my relationship with Edu Solution comes in.
Yeah. Can I just ask you this then? Do you personally have a relationship with Edu Solutions?
As a company?
Yes.
No.
You don't have a relationship with Edu Solutions?
As a company, no.
No. It's just a service provider to the department.
It's a service provider to the department.
Yeah. Minister, just looking at some of the questions that are coming up on Twitter, this one comes from Muikangwa, who says, destroying the books, is this not a crisis? What do we call it then? The books that were being destroyed in Limpopo.
No, you know what? I think people should also try to investigate which books. It could be old books, which were no longer being used in schools, which had to be shredded to give way for new books. So I don't know which books that were being destroyed. And I'm sure also the court doesn't know which books were being shredded. And this thing is unrelated to the fact that books were not delivered.
Yeah, there's a story though on SABC News that some of the books that were being destroyed are books that were still in packaging. So they were new books that were being destroyed. Are you familiar with that part of the story?
No, I mean, I have no information about the books that were being destroyed. And as I say, it's not part of even the issue about the delivery of books. Maybe it's another process which was commissioned by the province.
Yeah. Just looking at other questions, some are asserting that you as minister are not apologetic. Did you apologize to the kids and their parents in the schools there in Limpopo?
I'm not sure. Except that people expect me to be on my knees forever. In the statement that I gave on Friday, I did apologize to the people of Limpopo, the learners of Limpopo, and even educators of Limpopo. Except that I really am expected now to be on my knees permanently. Yeah. I did apologize if people listen to the press conference.
But how do you feel about these kids who, right now, being June, the exam is not far away for year end? I mean, what kind of reassurance have you given to them?
Now, I can tell you, I've been agonizing about this matter from February. Throughout. Yeah. Even by the time Section 27 came in, we were seized with the matter. And as I say, it's one of the matters which I had really even requested the head of department, our DG, to really release the administrator because it really is a concerning issue. Even when I got money from Treasury, I did say to the Minister of Treasury that for me there's nothing as urgent as getting the books in the hands of children. So if there's any person who's been agonizing about this, it's me. Yeah. I feel it's very unfortunate. I feel it's unfair even to the learners and teachers. I feel it's quite sad. Yeah. But as I say, it just went out of control.
There's no way, something that you can trigger. Here you are. It's February. You've diagnosed the problem. And there's no system in government that you can trigger to say, yes, there's a contract with Edu Solutions. Yes, this has been done. But we have a crisis here. There's nothing you can trigger to implement a different kind of process so that the kids at least have books. Let's deal with something else, but the kids in class have books and they can learn.
That's what we've triggered. I mean, if you have to imagine the process of first putting an order together, getting a service provider, it's a process that takes more than a year. Yeah. So,
but we already know the order.
The order was we had to recompile the order because the order it's a task which was given to the old service provider. So we had, because if we're not going to use their contract, we can't use their information. Yeah. So we had to recompile the order, which takes almost 6 months to recompile the order under normal circumstances. We had to find a new service provider, it's another process. We had to nullify the existing contract, it's another process.
So there's no emergency process?
It was emergency. Yeah. I mean, to do it in 2 months' time, what you normally do in 2 years' time, it is an emergency response.
Okay. Minister, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much, William. Thanks for the opportunity.
Angie-Motshekga is Minister responsible for education. You may want to write in and comment